is fire.
What's that? What's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother? Brother, what's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother? Brother, What's that? What's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother? Brother, what's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother? Brother,
It's just good to finally get it, sorted out in the league.
He called you a nonce up there today. Reaction to that?
Well, at the end of the day, Bo, look, he's 21 years old, yeah, and if I was to actually crack on with the kid, I could do, Bo. You get me? Because he's of age, Bo, so there's no nonce about it.
Can you spit some bars about...
Yes, people, welcome back. We are rare live stream, boys. It's a rare live stream. I'm slacking these days. Big up to you guys. Make sure you smash the likes on the way in. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel as well. If you're new, we got the 30k drillers on the way to 40k now, guys. The big push to 40. But yeah, big up to you, man. Just thought we'd have a chat, see what's going on in the world of football. I don't know what's going on because, to be honest with you, I'm so... Louise, to be honest, yeah, people said, oh, LB, where's the stream? Bro, there's like been nothing to talk about, man. And I'm like, I can't be... These internationals, mate, like, I can't do it to myself. I can't do it to myself, man. Like, I know they're going to be horrendous. I know they are. Do you know what I mean? Now, I didn't watch England last night because I knew it was going to be dead. I knew it was going to be dead. And I'm like, I'm not putting myself through it. I'm not putting myself through 90 minutes of dead football against Albania. For what? For what? Why should I have to put myself through that? Why? Why should I do that? I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? So I didn't do it. I went out. Do you know what I mean? And went to see my mum and dad and that. So yeah, I had a great time not watching England, mate. Because to be honest with you, yeah, every time I watch England, I just have zero. I'm dead inside, mate. Yeah, I'm cold. You know what I mean? I'm cold. I'm dead, and I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna do it. I know all our players are gonna get cooked because for some reason, whenever the City players play for England, they always end up getting roasted. And I'm like, you know what? Nah, I ain't doing it, mate. Do you know what I mean? I ain't doing it to myself. So yeah, and then guess what? I get home, I goes on Twitter, and Foden's getting absolutely ripped apart. So I'm like, nah. So you guys have to let me know what's going on with Foden, because apparently he was crap last night. Like actually legit rubbish, according to some people. I think people even said he's not even going to get in the next team, which is kind of mad. Playing on the wing again. But yeah, man, like to be honest with you, that's the reason, isn't it? I just like there's nothing to talk about. Like the 115 thing is obviously going to drop soon, you would think. But until it drops, it ain't dropped, you know? And that's where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like there's no news, mate. Like there's no transfer news. There's nothing. That's it. We're cooked, boys. We're fully cooked. Like check these stats out. Yeah. What's everyone cooking Foden for? Let me do this. Let me do a proper research. Yeah. What's this? Why is this just open? No, that's a hack, mate. Get out of here, yeah? Why am I getting hacked? Right, let's have a look at Foden's numbers from last night, mate, yeah? Apparently it was awful. Apparently it was awful is what I've heard and what I'm seeing on social media. Right, where's England? Can you see the thing on screen, yeah, by the way? Can you see the thing on screen on now? Let me know if you can see the thing on screen. What is it? England. There we go. England, Albania. 2-0. What a game. 6.8 match rating. Right wing, 74 minutes played, 91% pass accuracy, 1 cross, 2 long balls. one dribble, 2 ground duel. Just nothing in it. It's just nothing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with him, man. Like, he's not been great this year, innit? But I don't know, mate. To be honest with you, like, I think something's going on with Phil, mate. I think something's going on because he's dropped off massively this year. No, the whole team's dropped off, to be fair, but I don't know what's going on with Foden, mate. Like, I might have to watch the highlights, man, because everyone's saying he was trash. But I don't know, man. I don't think he's ever really done it for England. If we're being honest, I don't think he's ever really done it for England. Like, there's been moments. Like, he's definitely had moments. Yeah. But if you actually consider his whole career at England, how many caps has this guy got for England? If you actually consider his whole career for England, it's not been particularly great, really. Right. For England, he's played. He must be in the 30s or 40s by now. 44. It's just done nothing, innit? It's just done nothing, really. Like I say, he's had moments. Don't get me wrong. He's not saying he's not done anything. He's definitely had moments. But for England, he's not really done anything consistently. Now, you could argue and say, well, as Southgate, you know, the way he managed the side, could Foden flourish? Maybe you could use that as an argument or an excuse, whatever. Tuchel's coming. He wasn't great last night. It's too early to say whether or not he's going to be good or bad for England under Tuchel because, like I say, it's one game into his reign. But I don't know, mate. Like, I feel like it's probably going to go the same way. And yeah, this season it's not really working out for Foden, but so much got to be going on there, man. Because for me, I'm looking at this guy last year, unbelievable last year. Like, player of the season, Premier League player of the season. He scored so many big goals. He was so good for us. And then to drop off the way he has this year, it's been kind of mad. Now, I do think some people are overdoing it because, like, the whole team's dropped off. Haaland's dropped off. Now, KDB's dropped off. Bernardo's dropped off. Kovacic has probably dropped off. Like, all these people have probably dropped off, but Foden's the one who's young. You know, he's meant to be the one that's... And sometimes I'm watching him play, and it feels like he's slow. It feels like he's playing with the handbrake on. You've got to ask yourself, why? Why is that happening? Why is Phil Foden playing with the handbrake on? Is it something wrong with him? Is he ill? Has he got an injury? Because you remember, was it last year or no? It was the year before. He went through like a three month period where he wasn't playing particularly well. Do you remember? It was 2 years ago. And at the end of the I've not read it, Bailey. I'll pull it up in a sec. At the end of that 3 months, he come out and went, "Yeah, I've been playing with an ankle injury." And then we're like, "Well, why don't you tell us that then? Because that makes sense, doesn't it?" So is he injured? Is he playing with an injury? Is he playing with an illness? Is it the teams that he's playing in are just crap? But then that doesn't look particularly great because then you're sort of indicating that is he a system player or is he just out of form and that's it and we don't need to deep it too much. Maybe that's just the situation. Or is he not out of form? Some people will be sitting here going, "What are you talking about? He's playing perfectly fine." Well, I think you're a glazer if you're saying that, to be honest with you. Yeah. Nah, I can't. Where's his interview? I don't know where that interview is. Is it this one here with Bajakovsky? Let's pull this one up. What's he been saying? Blah, blah, blah. No, that's too cool. Has Foden said anything? Yeah. Nah, there's no comments there, man. What's this guy saying? Caravan Dave says Bob will be pushed back. Bob will push Foden or he has to be dropped in favour of Oscar. England is a distraction. Best to concentrate on playing well. Oh, I didn't know they had comments on this website. Conway Blue Moon says, "I've been saying all year that fall down on Phil Foden isn't worthy of a place in the City team. He always goes missing in big games like Erling. If anyone can think of a top team he's played against and played well, then please tell me because he and Lewis are English. They both gain an advantage regarding our squad. Foden is no Kevin or David Silva." Laser Blue says, "For whatever reason, Foden has been playing well below expectations since he won the Premier League Best Player of the Year. He was absolutely awful at the Euros. Has shown just small cameos for City this season. Sometimes a player just needs to be benched, and it looks like this is on the cards. Just look at the rise of other youngsters. Foden was poor again in England. Sure, he had half a game in the previous Euros. We're kidding ourselves if we think England has any chance of winning the next World Cup. Now, I didn't even know they had comments on that website, to be honest with you. That's crazy. Yeah, no, it is a bit mad. Yeah, if you can pull it up, I don't know where it is, bro. Maybe send me the link, Bailey, or tag me in it, and I'll pull it up. But yeah, man, I just think, listen, it is. I just think the situation's a situation, man. He ain't playing particularly well for City, and obviously now maybe England, based off of what people are saying about last night. But then no one in our team played particularly well. What next for Foden? What next for Manchester City for the rest of the season? Well, I still think he's going to play most of the games because the rest of the players aren't playing particularly well. Going forward into next season, where do we go? Well, if we sign Wirtz, I'd like us to play Wirtz and Foden in the middle. But mate, it's at the end of the day, it's up to him to you know, you got to ask yourself the question: why was he so good last year? Why has he been good for so many years and then this year's dropped off? You got to get to the crux of the situation. What's caused that drop off, mate? Yeah, what's caused that drop off? Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, right, I'm not willing to throw this guy under the bus, right? I'll just tell you that right now. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people throw this guy under the bus. It is 100% fair to call out his performances because his performances this season have dropped off 100%, mate. But like for some people, for me, I feel like you're throwing him under the bus. Some of you guys, like yeah, call him out. And does he deserve to be in the team going forward for the rest of the season? Maybe not. Maybe bench for a little bit and then bring him back in. But I'm seeing some people saying sell him. I'm seeing some people like cuss on the guy's name, and I'm like, yo, chill, man. This is a guy who done so much for us. You know what I mean? 300 appearances already for Manchester City or something like that. You know, player of the season last year, really one of the crucial players. Without him, we wouldn't have won the Premier League last year. Scored big goals for us. Bernabeu, you know, huge goal. And I feel like, you know, not to sound all happy clappy and that, yeah, because I do sound about, but like sometimes you do have to support a player, and like I say, not forever. Like 100% not forever. If he doesn't perform next year, then you've got a serious problem on your hands. Do you know what I mean? But it's a bit like Pep. He's got credit in the bank for me. Pep's got credit in the bank. Foden's got credit in the bank. Not forever. Not forever. Eventually, if they don't, you know, up their game and up the performances and up the results, then yeah, you go, you know, well, this ain't good enough. But I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of people are quick to throw him under the bus. And this is a player that, you know, has come through our ranks. He's a City fan. He's played for us and he's sacrificed. Some people don't realise this. Phil Foden sacrificed a lot for this football club. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'll tell you what I mean. Let me tell you something. Yeah, it might be a bit might be a bit unpopular, but I think it's the truth. If this guy was at another football club, yeah, he'd probably be higher rated than he is at City. Why? Because he's actually sacrificed himself for the team. How many times he played on the left wing for us? Yeah, sacrificed himself playing left wing. Yeah, left winger. Yeah, a right winger. How many times he played on the right wing? Sacrificed. How many times he played false nine or as a striker? Sacrificed. Yeah, if he goes to another team, yeah, he just plays in the midfield. He plays in the attacking midfield role. He's playing there week in, week out for years. He's probably doing better. He's sacrificed a lot he's sacrificed a lot of his own personal development or personal sort of like, his name in the stars for this football club and the manager as well. So, again, for me, a bit like with the Pep situation, he's got credit in the bank. Yeah, he's got credit in the bank. And so for me, I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to give him, you know, time to come back. That doesn't mean that he's got forever. Yeah, this is a football club. Yeah, at the end of the day, and we need players to perform. But, you know, he needs to get back on it 100%. But I'm not willing to throw this guy under the bus, man. Nah, no way. No way am I throwing this guy under the bus. Yeah? Now, Balling Bandit, again, you're sort of like taking the bits of what I've said that you don't like and completely dismissing the other bits. Nah, bro, you're glazing. Just because he's a local Matt don't mean we owe the club to him. I didn't say that again. Do you know what I mean? I didn't say that, bro. What I'm saying, I'll repeat it again, yeah, although I'm pretty sure you rage bait these days, is that when a player has credit in the bank, yeah, and they're and they've sacrificed a lot for us, which I genuinely think he does and has done for us, I think that we should give him the time of day to help get through the poor form and then get him back in. Now, I've also just said bench him. I'm not saying play him week in, week out, but I'm saying this sort of like this sort of cussing him out and throwing him under the bus. For me, I just think that, maybe he does have to hold bench for a bit. Maybe he just has to hold bench. Maybe he has to do a Jack Grealish thing and not play for a bit. Maybe that's the situation. 100% open to the idea of benching a player that's not playing particularly well. What I'm talking about is the way that people are speaking about him. And like, for me, I just think that we should, when it comes to Foden, this guy's had a big couple of years, man. You know what I mean? A big couple of years. And, last year was brilliant for us. And I just think, come on, man, let's just, support him a little bit. Yeah, support the player and see what he does next year. And again, I say it again for the 500th time. If next year he's still performing badly, then he's going to have to just be benched and be a rotational player when we've got other players. If we've got Wirtz, you've got Oscar Bob cooking. If Savio steps up to the plate, Marmouche is cooking. Yeah, I'm not just saying play the guy because he's a City fan and he's from Manchester or whatever. I'm saying them are some of the reasons and some of the stuff that he's done that we should be backing him. But at the end of the day, it is up to him to get himself back on it. And if he doesn't, then he's going to seriously struggle. This is the article that Bailey just sent me. Big up, bro. This is from January. I was physically and mentally burnt out. Let's see what he's saying. Okay, so it says, here we go. What's it saying? England and the Euros didn't help. Southgate did not want to play the two central attacking midfielders and preferred Jude Bellingham in the central role, forcing Foden to the left wing after a season of being the main man for an English and world champions. It never really worked out. A player who had 27 goals and 12 assists for City in a successful campaign did not contribute a single goal despite England making it all the way to a final where they would lose to Spain. As pleased as Foden was while England stayed in the tournament, he was left disappointed. I felt frustrated. I didn't get out what I wanted to get out of it. The position I was putting on the left was difficult to influence the game. Coming off the left last season, being the best player in the Premier League and playing centre midfield, I do feel the position was quite difficult to get used to. I'm one who can play multiple positions and had to try and deal with it the best I could. I don't feel like England ever get going or perform to our potential. Okay, what else did he say? He said it was a challenging moment. I've been playing since the age of 5, pushing myself every day to be the best I can. It's just the way I am. That's always been given 100% in training. But when you add up all the games and all the travelling, it's a lot for the body. I wasn't feeling 100% when I was training. There were a few niggles. There were times when I was getting frustrated a lot because I want to enjoy my football. I want to be out there. And when the things are not helping you to be 100%, it's difficult to accept that. For me, football is played with the brain, and when the brain is mentally fatigued, you're not going to see a player who he is. I'm normally itching to get back, but when I came back, my body and mental state was low. I had a bit of rest just to give my body time to recover. I took the start of the season very slowly. I didn't play much, and I was just resting and trying to get back to myself. My body just didn't feel how it used to, and it's something that I've had to deal with. I feel that's why I've had a slow start to the season. And to be fair, he did kind of pick it up in January, didn't he? But then he sort of drifted off again. When you start the season good, I feel you have the rest of the season good. But I miss periods at the start of the season. So that's why I think it's taken me so long to get going. You can't dwell on it too much. These things happen to footballers. I've slowly been getting back to myself. Is this him again? He says, as we're struggling, I'm more able to appreciate last year. For me, it was an incredible season, the best in the City shirt. I've been here for a few years. I understand what the manager wants. I see myself as a leader to the younger ones like McAtee and Rico and the players like that. I try and help them best I can. To have academy players, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, what's he saying? He's saying he's fatigued. Or he was fatigued. He's saying he had a few injury concerns. And that's why I think that this season might just be a write-off for Foden. I can't lie. I think it might just be a write-off for him. Sometimes players have that, don't they, lads, where it's just like they just have a bad season, mate, and I think that's just one of them. And again, I think that we should support him through that, you know what I mean? And that doesn't mean play him every game. That means support him as in, you got our backing, bro. That doesn't mean you're going to play every match because we got football games to win. Yeah, and sometimes you're going to have to be benched because whilst, we want to support you as a player and as a player that's done great things for us, a player that's come through our academy, a City fan, a player that I think has sacrificed a lot for this team. I want to support you. Yeah. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you can play every game. So sometimes you are going to have to be benched. Yeah. And then hopefully going into next season, you can cook. You know what I mean? You can cook. And if you don't, then I say, lad, we've got a problem next year. We got a problem next year if he doesn't cook next year. But let's cross that bridge when it comes to it, man. But yeah, there's been a lot of criticism on Foden when it comes to England. To be honest with you, I think he's going to struggle with England for the rest of his career because there's so many players in that central midfield position, and he's one of the most versatile. He can play left wing, he can play right wing, he can play attacking mid, he can play creative midfielder. Whereas Palmer can play right wing attacking midfielder, he can't play left wing. Jude Bellingham can't play right wing or left wing. He can play midfield or attacking midfield. That's it. Foden, unfortunately, I believe Foden is the best player there technically in that position. I think he's the best player in that position technically, by quite distance. But because he can play multiple positions, it will hinder him. And I've spoke about this before. Not a lot. I have spoke about this before. Not necessarily in reference with Foden, just generally in football. Sometimes football, do you know what? Different quality of player, but James Milner suffered with this. Unfortunately, right, when you're a player that can play multiple positions, yeah, sometimes you are going to struggle with that because you're not going to be able to hold down a position. And that's what I'm saying. He sacrificed his game at City. If Foden would have been at another club, yeah, he would have played in midfield, game in, game out for the last 4 years. But City is not. He's played left wing, right wing, attacking mid, left wing, inverted into midfield, striker. And that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, when it comes to Foden, need to up your game. I'm backing you. Yeah, you've had a bad season compared to your standards. And, you know, maybe there's some fatigue in there. Do you know what I mean? How many games has this guy played for City, mate? Yeah? He's played 308 games for City. How old is he? 24. He's 24 years old. He's already played 300 games. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem, that, you know, because we don't want to burn him out. You know what I mean? You don't want to burn out a play. Look at Sterling. Look at Sterling, chat. Sterling's dusted already, bro. Yeah? How old is he? How old is Sterling? Why have I just clicked Sterling? It's brought up booking.com, mate. You know, what's all that about? Sterling's just turned 30 and he's finished. Yeah? Why? Because he played too much football. So again, this is another reason, guys. When we go into the transfer market this summer, we have to build a squad, mate. Yeah? We have to build a squad. That's it. That's the truth. Yeah, Bernardo burnt out. Bernardo's done, dusted. Yeah, because unfortunately, some of these players, we've probably played some of these players far too much. We need to, you know, Rodri, for example, playing 65, 70 games a season for 2 seasons. Nah, that's not good, mate. It's not. I know everyone loves it at the time, and so do I, innit? Yeah, I know everyone loves it at the time, but nah, it's not good, man. It's not good. But anyway, let me come to some of these chats, man. Big up to, by the way, smash these likes up, guys. Come on, man. We've got 500 people in the building. Let's get these likes to at least 200, guys. Come on, hit that thumbs up button. Big up to LB. Says Pep must give Foden minutes. Give Foden's minutes to Echeverri. I mean, I'm down for that. Like I'm saying, if we have to bench Foden for a bit, we have to bench Foden for a bit. And you know my thoughts on Echeverri. I think, to be honest, Pep Guardiola's made it very clear that we're not going to be seeing any minutes, maybe. Maybe we'll get some minutes, very small, but we ain't going to see a lot from Echeverri. Unfortunately, the guy's in Rome at the moment, I think, Echeverri. So, yeah, I would do definitely down to do that. Rico got absolutely roasted as well yesterday. Again, I didn't watch it, but I have heard that he got cooked yesterday for England. Again, not great. Seemingly, whenever our players play for England, they're all just trash for some reason. But yeah, I did hear that, LB. I did hear that was under 21s on it. How does a 1 billion squad lose Rodri and miss out on the Champions League? That's on the manager. That's because, and I said this in the summer plenty of times, Rodri was the single most important player to any football team in the world. And I said that multiple times in the summer. And we went for the cheap option in Gundogan. And listen, if Rodri would have stayed fit, I think we would have been okay. But I think where the club went wrong is, for me, you've got to have more ambition than just okay as a football club. For me, yeah, I think that was the thing. You know, like I say, If Rodri didn't get his ACL, I think we would have been fine. I think we would have been in a title race this year, 100%. And I think we probably wouldn't have, maybe we wouldn't have qualified top 8. Who knows? Even Real Madrid didn't qualify top 8 of the Champions League, but I think we would have been much higher up that league and we wouldn't have got Real Madrid in the playoffs. So we probably would have been in the last 16 of the Champions League if Rodri didn't get his ACL. And that is, I don't think you can say, oh, well, the ACL was always going to happen. I don't think so. Maybe a hamstring injury, maybe a thigh injury, but not an ACL. And I think had we kept Gundogan and Kovacic and Rodri stayed fit, maybe get an injury, but not an ACL, I think we would have been fine. But again, I think we would have been okay. But again, I think the club has to have a bigger ambition than being just fine. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying we should have Camavinga, Baleba, and Rodri all at the football club. So if Rodri gets injured, you've got Baleba and Camavinga. No, I'm not suggesting that, but I'm saying you need to have something better than a 34-year-old Ilkay Gundogan as your backup. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, and I say that's probably okay if Rodri doesn't get his ACL. That's probably okay if Rodri doesn't get his ACL because the proof was in the pudding. First 7 games of the season before Rodri even played, we won every game. Yeah, you could get away with it for a point, but you're not going to get away with it for a full season, and that's where we went wrong. So it's a learning experience for the football club, for the board, for the manager, that you need to think about worst case scenarios. If that player gets injured for a long period, is that your season over? Because let's be honest, at the start of the season, if I would have said to you, if Rodri gets an ACL, are we done? Yeah, that's it. The season's over. And it is. And some people did. Like I remember doing a tweet when Rodri got injured, and I'm pretty sure I said, I don't even think I tweeted that. I think I said, our season now will depend on what we do in January now that Rodri's got his ACL. I didn't even say the season was over. I didn't say that. I actually said the season will depend on what happens in January because I didn't think it'd be that bad. And some people didn't like that. Some people didn't like that. Some people thought, no, you're way overdoing it. Like, no. You guys don't appreciate just how good of a player Rodri is. Now, obviously, now they do. And because Rodri won the Ballon d'Or, I think people clearly realised that was a major issue. But yeah, you've got to have better than just Gundogan as a backup option or Kovacic. They're not that's not good enough for a club like Manchester City. Do you know what I mean? And again, well, it's a learning experience. It's a learn from it. Was I raging in the summer? No, I wasn't raging in the summer. Yeah, because I thought, oh yeah, it's fine. That's okay. Rodri and Gundogan and Kovacic is your backup. That's okay. But again, you got to learn that's not that you need better than that. You do need better than that. And again, we will definitely move forward on this 100%. This is why I love this club, man, because I trust the club. This is why I was confident we was going to sign 3-4 players in January. We signed 5. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, let me continue with some of these chats, man. It's been sat here a while. Big up to Anakin says, yes, LB, I'm back from my break from the internet. Hope you're well, breh. People need to chill on Foden. He won us the league last season. Yeah, again, people are absolutely within the right to call him out if the performances are poor. Do you know what I mean? Again, this isn't North Korea. Where I'm at is like I say, I think that you should back him. Criticise him by all means, but back him and back him to get back next year. And again, if he doesn't perform next year, then fairs. Yeah, bench. But yeah, that's where I'm at. But yeah, W for the internet breakers, Steve says. Big up to Mayank says, you just compared Phil to Pep. Bro, Phil is poor. I compared Phil to Pep. What? I don't remember doing that, to be honest with you, Mayank, bro. But big up to you, man. I'm not sure what's going on there. Big up to Tex. He says Foden's going through his Bernardo 1920 slump. Says Tex. Yeah, maybe, bro. Like I say, hopefully he'll be back next year. And I'm sure he will be back next year. And if he's back next year, like, we're chilling, innit? We're chilling. But like, at the end of the day, this season's done, mate. This season's a write-off. Let's just get top 4, give it a good go at the Champions League, get back in the Champions League, and then we just forget about it and act like it never happened. But yeah. Again, to be honest with you, similar to Rodri, if we just talk about Rodri, then again, yeah, we're saying that like going into this season, we had Rodri, Kovacic, and Gundogan. Yeah, if Rodri stayed fit, that's probably okay, but we need more than okay. If you look at our attacking options, we had a 33-year-old Kevin De Bruyne who can't stay fit, had an 8-inch operation on his hamstring, and clearly he's slowing down. He was slowing down last year. And you go into the season where Foden has just played 2 big seasons, just had a bad Euros. Again, it's all easy to say now because it's all hypothetical situation, all stuff that's happened in the past, or what hindsight. Yeah, that's the word, hindsight. It's all hindsight, right? But again, there's people at the club that get paid a lot of money to look at stuff like this. And there should be people at the football club going, right, in our attacking midfield positions, we have Foden and Kevin De Bruyne. And they go, right, that sounds good. Yeah. But then they should be scrutinising it. They should be hypercritical of every player and every position in the squad. Because if you're hypercritical, you'll work out your weaknesses and you might be able to predict things. And you could look at Foden and you could look at Kevin De Bruyne. And again, similar to the Rodri situation, if you was hypercritical in the summer, could you have predicted this a little bit? Maybe, probably. Oh, well, Foden's just had two seasons of playing 4,000 minutes. He's just had a really bad Euros in which will probably knock his confidence. And Kevin De Bruyne's a year older. He's now 33. He keeps on getting injured. He won't be available every game next year. And he's still not retired from international football, which doesn't help us. Again, it's like, there's people at the club that get paid a lot of money and that's what they should be doing. And they probably didn't do that in the summer. Or maybe they did because Tiki did want to do the rebuild. Again, we don't actually know because Tiki apparently wanted to do the rebuild in the summer. Maybe Tiki wanted to get Wirtz in the summer. Maybe Tiki wanted to get Baleba or Camavinga and Pep just went, nah, mate, he's chilling. We don't know, man. You know what will happen? We'll find out in a few years. We'll find out in a few years, mate. Yeah, we will. We'll find out in a few years what went on in the summer in terms of those conversations when someone does a book. Yeah, Pep will probably do another book. Maybe Tiki will do a book and we'll probably work out what happened, mate. And it'll be interesting, because you'll be able to, that's where we went wrong. Yeah, life's all about lessons, guys. Life's all about lessons, isn't it? You don't take your lessons, you're getting cooked bread. A few more of these. Big up to Infidel. Says everyone has underperformed. I think it's a lot to do with how bad we're defending transitions. He doesn't want to play risky and it's hindering his game, says Infidel. There's certainly something to do with that. The whole team's doing that. And I actually, if you want to know my opinion, some people want like this as well. I actually think Nico Gonzalez's passes have not been as forward as they were in his first couple of games, if you want me to be, again, maybe hypercritical or whatever. So, yeah, again, I think it's just a dead season, mate. Yeah, let's get this season done and then forget about it, yeah. Hopefully we can make a few signings before we go to the Club World Cup and have a good time there. And let's go again next year, you know what I mean? But, yeah, the whole team's dead, isn't it? Facts. Big up Cisco. He says, in my opinion, Phil needs competition next year, sink or swim. Definitely. Well, we have to get competition because I don't think Kev's here next year, lads. I'll be real, yeah. I don't think he's going to be here, Kev. I think he's gone. San Diego driller. And I think we can't go into a season with just Foden. I mean, what are we doing? That would be absolutely ridiculous. So we have to get some more creativity in there. Honestly, I'd buy Baena and Wirtz. I'd buy them both, mate. Yeah, get them both. Baena can play on the wing as well. And by the way, Grealish is probably going to leave in the summer, so you might need another winger. So Baena, he can play on left wing. He can play in the middle, creativity. Get Wirtz as well. Proper competition for places, man. This is what I want, competition. I know some of our fan base is like allergic to having a squad. Yeah, they want like 11 players and that's it. No, let's build a squad again. Let's build a squad like we had in the treble year when we had a proper squad. Do you remember that squad in the treble year? The squad was unbelievable, mate. Yeah, I want to get back to having a squad competition for places. You're not playing well. He's playing. Yeah. We dropped Walker in the final for a Kanji, mate. No, that's pretty mad, actually, because that could have cost us. I remember when Kanji's on that back pass or whatever. Yeah. But, yeah, we need competition. Yeah, but what about if they get unhappy? If they're unhappy, it's because they're not playing. If they're not playing, it's because they're not playing well. Usually is how it goes. If they don't want to be in, let them leave. Yeah, but I'd rather have players playing because they're playing well than just having a small squad and having players that are not playing particularly well. We need to replace Bernardo with Cherky. I'm seeing a lot of Cherky hype, man. I am. I'm seeing a lot of Cherky hype. LB, you're yapping. The squad is not that bad. Plus money spent in January. If Pep didn't play that stupid high line every game, we'd see out most games, said second season. I still think the squad ain't great. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's a great squad. There's 9 players that I'd get rid of. Ideally, I'd do it in one window, but I'm aware that you probably can't do that. But yeah, like we spoke about this loads of times. Saint, you know, Pepper's made weird decisions as well this year. Again, I just think it's one that we have to just write off, mate. And if it carries on next year, then fairs. I've said that so many times. If it carries on next year, fairs. You know what I mean? But this year, I just think it's a write-off, bro. Big up to Fox as well. Says Foden's a quality player, deserves respect. He's been horrible this season, but one bad season doesn't mean your career is dead. Next season, breh. Facts. That's where I'm at, mate. That's where I'm at. And Fox, yeah, if he's poor next year, whole bench, mate. If we've got Verts, we've got Bob cooking on gas, you get Baena maybe, you get a proper squad, you'll have to hold bench until he plays well. And maybe you can hold bench this season. Maybe for the rest of maybe you got to play and put him on a bench for a couple of games this year. Maybe that's what you've got to do. If Kevin De Bruyne's fit or Bob's back, Bob can play in the middle. In fact, when I watched him in the academy, the best position I ever seen him play was in the middle. David Silva-esque, mate. Really, really good. But yeah, I just feel like it's annoying, man, because I don't like saying this. You know, I remember I did my crisis video, Man City are in crisis after 3 games into that 14-game run. Yeah, I don't like this. But at the same time, you have to accept reality that it's not getting better. One of the reasons I went so soon, yeah, on those videos and we're having those conversations early into that dead run is because you could turn it around. We could turn it around 3 games into the run, 4 games into the run. We were still technically in a title race at that point. But then when it went, it's just like, you got to accept that, like, nah, this is who we are now. This is who we are. Until it gets better, and it's not going to get better until the summer when we sign proper players. I big up to Luke as well for 10 months. By the way, Bevel messaged me yesterday, bro, but I was out on the beers, in it, so I didn't respond. But I will respond to him and, you know, therefore you. Hope you're doing good, bro. Yeah, big up to you as well, man. Big up long time. Been a long season, and it's good to get a break where we can. Congrats on 30k, well deserved. Yeah, man, 30k was a madness. You know, I'm buzzing for 30k because it looks sick. I can't lie. Yeah, I don't really do that. I'm not really that into it, like, you know, the subs thing, but I do like 30k. I can't lie, like 30k looks class, man. I feel like it's a real number in it. So now, big up to you as well. Keep going on your channel, mate. Keep going on your channel. But yeah, that's the Foden talk. Let's move the conversation on a little bit to it. In fact, let's have a look at these news because there's been some news that's just been released here, chat. Look at this. What's this? Jack gone. Is this a Bombazzo? Bombazzo or nah? Chat, is this a Bombazzo? Some a bit. Just read it, LB. If you read it, you'll know if it's a Bombazzo or not. Is that Bombazzo, chat? I think a goalkeeper comes in. There was a thought they might go for a keeper in January. They're in need of another midfielder, fullback. They've been looking at Cambiasso. It all depends on who wants to leave, how much money they can get for certain players. And that's without discussing the Club World Cup and the impact on that squad. It's not Bombazzo, chat. I'm sorry, man. Chat, I'm sorry, man, but that's not Bombazzo, mate. Yeah, we already knew this. Yeah, I think we're going to get 2 goalkeepers. Unless they can convince Ortega to stay for another season as a backup goalkeeper, mate. Yeah. Because he can't be number 1, with all due respect. I think, yeah. Convince Ortega. How long's Ortega got left on his contract? Because if he's only got 1 year in the summer, then you're going to lose him on a free. Ortega contract 2026. Fuck. That's not good. Because he's probably worth 20 mil. Ortega. 25 million. He's only 32. So he's probably worth 25 million. So you're letting that walk out. Bro, you're letting that go on a free, mate. You're letting that go on a free because I feel that Ortega's at this point in his career now where he's won the trophies now, buzzing, and I reckon he's probably want to go and I reckon he's going to want to go and play regular first team football. Now, unfortunately for him, I think that maybe the way he's played this year has probably lowered the quality of club that he's going to be able to go to because it was only last year. It was only last year that I was saying, "Oh, go to Bayern after Neuer and replace Bayern." I think he could have done that, but yeah, this season, man, he's been poor. But still, he might want to play first team football, maybe. But if you can convince him to stay, it's a bit. That's a big contract that with Ortega because if he goes, you need 2 goalkeepers. That's not good, for stability. It's not good that at all, mate. And then at the same time, yeah, if because Carson might want to retire because he's 39, 40 or whatever. You know what I mean? He might want to go. You might need 3 goalkeepers, 3. So that's not a great situation to be in. The club, obviously, I think everybody knows now. You know, I'd be surprised if there's anyone in this chat that disagrees with this, but I'm pretty sure you all know that Ederson's probably going to be leaving. I think if Ederson was going to stay, he would have signed a contract by now. He's not signed a contract. He's going to go. So that's where you're at. Yeah, just not a good situation to be in, man, when it comes to the goalkeeper situation. You know, it's really, really not. And obviously that Chevalier, he's got some hype around him. But yeah, you're going to need potentially 2 goalkeepers if Ortega wants to go. Right back, Cambiasso makes sense because he can play left back as well. So you're sort of getting 2 in 1. Rico Lewis is a weird one, to be honest with you, because... Should I do a poll in the chat on Rico Lewis? See where you guys are at. Let me do a poll in the chat. One sec, chat, yeah. Rico Lewis. Sell. Keep. Sell or keep? Let's just do it as sell or keep. It's cleaner. Where am I at with Rico? I'm seeing a lot of people just not rate him. I'm seeing a lot of people now that just don't rate him. I'd still keep him. I'd still keep him as a rotation squad option, because I want to build this squad bigger. I want to get this squad as big as you possibly can get it. And I keep him as a squad rotation option. Coming on last 20 minutes here and there. The odd game here and there. But minutes limited. Again, you know, I think last year was all right. The season that he broke through was all right. Is he another player that's suffering because the overall team is playing badly? Probably. But if the team gets better next year, will he get better? Well, I think he probably will. So I'd keep him, personally. And he's another homegrown player. You know what I mean? I think I'd keep him. I would. I'd keep him, mate. But I hear it, man. I hear it. I do, you know, because he's not been good this year. But then nor's anyone. So everyone's been bad this year by a couple of players. So we're selling them all. We're selling Haaland. He ain't been great this year. Gvardiol's not been amazing this year, even though he's probably up there with our player of the season. He's not been great. Should we sell him? Diaz, not been great. Sell him. We can't sell everyone. I think Rico, I'd keep him as a squad option. What's his position? I don't think he's got a natural position. I think he's just a player that can do an okay job at many, many different positions. So, yeah, for me, I'd keep him. I wouldn't sell him. The poll's split. Have you seen the poll? Wow. Wow, chat. That's a madness. Look at the chat. Look at the poll. 52% of people are saying keep Rico Lewis. And 48% of people are saying sell him. In fact, I'm not voted. Let me vote. Yes, I can vote. I got an account on YouTube, innit? Let me vote. Live stream LB. Yeah, vote. I can't vote on my own poll. What the hell is this rig? Nah, what? This is a joke. Why can't I vote on it, man? Why can't I vote on it? That's crazy, mate. Well, I'll leave it up there anyway. But yeah, when it comes to Rico, I'd probably keep him, to be honest. I'll probably keep him. But yeah, you're going to need, crucially, you're going to need 1 or 2 goalkeepers. You're going to need Cambiasso. Apparently, Frimpong was cooking, chat. Apparently, Frimpong was cooking for the Netherlands in the attack. I think he got a goal and an assist. Did he get a goal and an assist or nah? I'm sure he got a goal and an assist. Is that true? Is that true? People are still sus on him, though, when it comes to defending, man. People say he's still crap at defending. Is Frimpong's defending a myth? I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't lie, yeah. Every time I watch Frimpong, he's not playing right back, mate. He's playing like right wing, striker, left wing. It's a madness. But I can't lie. I would like the idea of getting Cambiasso and Frimpong. You know, because Cambiasso, for me, I reckon if we get Cambiasso will mainly be utilised as a player that can invert into midfield. Yeah, because of how good technically he is, he can invert into midfield. I think if you get Frimpong, you've got an option. You've got options there. And you're bombing forward. You know, When was the last time we had a wing back bombing over the, like, overlapping the winger and actually has the quality to? It's all well and good letting Walker do that. Yeah, what's the point if you can't put a cross in? Kind of similar, if we're being honest, to Gavardio, mate. Yeah, he does the cutbacks, which actually is decent, but he don't cross it normally. I'd like the idea of getting them both. I'd like the idea of get two. Yeah, and then go and get me a centre back as well. Right? What would we have then? Right? You'd have Gavardio, Ake as your 2 left backs. Right? They're your 2 left backs. That's 2. Centre backs: Diaz, Kuzanov, Vita Hayes. Ake can still play there. Akanji, maybe. Do you keep Akanji? Stones, you're probably going to keep Stones. I actually keep both of them players now, you know, Ake and Stones. I think I keep them both rather than try to sell them. Yeah, unless they want to go. We do need another centre half, though. We definitely need another centre. We need a centre half who's more experienced, who can actually stay fit. We definitely need another centre half. Yeah, but basically, instead of going into the season with 7 players like we did last year, yeah, again, why was that never questioned? That was my biggest pet peeve this summer, really. You know, it wasn't even the DM situation; it was the defense. Anyone on half a brain knew that defense was bad. You know what I mean? 7 players we went into the season with in defense. One of them was Kyle Walker, who was finished. One of them was Rico Lewis, who half the fan base don't even think is a defender. One of them was Ake, who gets injured, and the other one was Stones. It was stupid. That was I was more annoyed at that actually, yeah, than the midfield. Thought it was dumb. But imagine going from that to Cambiasso, Frimpong, Akanji, Rico Lewis. You got 4 players that can play at right back. Centre back, Stones, Ake is your 2 sort of injury guys. Diaz, Huzanov, Vita Hayes. You get your new guy, and then the left backs you stick with Ake and Gavardio. And obviously Cambiasso can still play there as well. Cambiasso's a great signing. He is a great signing. For positional play. I don't know if he's going to be great in terms of how good he is, because I've only seen him once. One of the clips I seen him defending and wasn't particularly great. But yeah, positional wise, a body, he'd be a great signing, man. Rico or Lewis Skelly. At this moment, I'd probably go Lewis Skelly, bro. I can't lie, man. At this moment in time. Yeah. But like I said, I'd keep Rico. I'd keep him around the squad, man. I really would. But yeah, you're gonna need that. Midfield. You need 2 midfielders. What's he on about there? What's he saying, Jack Gone? They're in need of another midfielder. No, we're not. That's fake news. We need 2. Chat, how many midfielders do we need? Tell me 2. Tell me we need 2 in it in the chat. We need 2 midfielders, man. We need 2, not 1. We need 2. We need an all-rounder, Bruno Guimaraes style, and then we need an out-and-out creator, mate. Yeah, an out-and-out creator. One? Nah, not 1, mate. Not 1. We need 2. 2. Maybe 3. Yeah, but minimum 2. If we get 1, we're cooked, man. I'd say that right now. We're cooked if we get 1. 100%. We need 2, mate. Yeah, I'd love Bruno G. Oh, I'd love Bruno G, mate. I think he's unbelievable. I think he's absolutely unbelievable. And I think City really, really messed up not paying that 100 million in the summer. Really, really messed up not paying that 100 million quid in the summer, because he is a top player. And then Wirtz would be great, wouldn't it? Wirtz and Bruno G. I mean, it's going to cost you, let's be honest, 200 mil. But that would completely transform our midfield. It really, really would. Adam Wharton. Yeah, apparently he's actually been slamming since he got his surgery or come back from his last injury. He's actually been playing really, really well. Why is he not in the main England squad, by the way? Yeah, Adam Wharton. Why? Why is he not there, mate? Why has he took Henderson? Did Henderson play last night, chat? Did Henderson play last night? What is our country, man? What are we doing here, mate? Like, what's going on here, man? Tuchel, mate. I really want to back Tuchel. I am backing him. Yeah, I'm gonna let this slide, mate. Yeah. But you're making it difficult, Tuchel, mate, picking Henderson and Walker when they're going to be 36 in the tournament. What's all that about? But I do back Tuchel, man. I do back him. You know, I think he's a good manager. I actually rate him. I think he's a good manager. Do I want him at City? Nah, not really. because I feel like we're different style, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think he's a top manager, man. And actually, yeah, maybe the people who've been watching me for a few years, when he took over Chelsea from Lampard, I actually said they're now one of the favourites for the Champions League, and they won it, beating us in the final, man. Yeah, I really rate him. I really do. I know Hussam hates him, man. Hussam hates him, and I don't get it, man. I think he's a top manager. He gets to finals. He always gets to finals. Been unlucky in a couple of them, losing on penalties. Won the Champions League. I think he's a good coach, mate. I think he's a good coach. But yeah, not for City, because it's a bit different, man. It's a bit different. Yeah, I want like a Vinny Company, Nagelsmann, someone who plays ball. You know what I mean? That sort of way. That sort of way. Smash these likes up, guys, by the way. 600 people in the building. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Let's get these likes to 250. Come on, guys. We need 20 people. 20 people out of 600 to smash the like button. Make sure you guys are sub to the channel as well. We go to LB. Says, club needs to stay well clear of Cambiasso. Really? You don't like the look of him? Nah. You don't like the look of him? I've seen him once, and he was pretty good. Didn't have much defending to do. And I was like, yeah, I can see why we're looking at him. And then I saw him defend against Napoli. And I didn't like what I saw. He didn't close the man down on the cross and they scored. And I was like, bro, you got to get out to that crosser, man. But apparently, Juventus fans said that since all the rumours and links came out to Manchester City, he has dipped. So maybe his head's just not fully in it now. Maybe because some people are saying like it's a done deal. Like City and Juve basically agreed to do the deal in the summer. So maybe his head's just not in the game. But it's not particularly great, is it really? So yeah, I don't know. I don't really know too much about the guy. All I know is that he's extremely two-footed. He's very technical. He's very good on the ball. And he looks like a great player for Pep Guardiola. Is he a good defender? I have no idea. Early signs, I don't really think he's going to be a top defender, but is he going to be good enough? Maybe that Cancelo style. I don't know. But yeah. Bill JMC as well says Cambiasso 60, Frimpong 30, Aina for free. Boom. I think that Aina shout is an interesting one. You know what I mean? Because you'd probably have to, I don't think you'd get all three of them, but you'd probably have to get Cambiasso and Aina. I don't think you could get Frimpong Aina, but then he's got no invert option. And you know he loves players to invert. But listen, I like Aina. And I think as a squad player that can come in and do a job, I think it's a decent shout. And I'd be surprised. Well, maybe he would stay because they're in the Champions League, Forest, aren't they? Maybe he will stay at Forest, but I'd be surprised if some of the big clubs are not sniffing around. You know, your typical top sixes, your Arsenals, your Cities, your Liverpools, because a free transfer for Aina. I think that's a great signing, man. But yeah, we'll see what happens. He's still not signed a new deal. So again, not looking good for Forest there. 4 players' contracts are running out at the end of next season and 7 the next. That's not good if you ask me. Let's take a look at City's contract situation then, bro. Because you don't want to end up in a situation like Liverpool, yeah, where you've been cut. So let's have a look at City's squad, agents and contracts. Here we go. Right, this is our contract list. Let's have a look at our contract list. So this summer, we've got no players entering this summer. Cool. Oh, we do. Why is it not sorted, man? Dumb website. Okay, so Nico O'Reilly, don't know what's going on there. He just says he doesn't have a contract. Chat. Maybe that's why he doesn't play, because he's not allowed, because he doesn't actually have a contract, mate. Carson is going this summer, according to this. So that's 1 goalkeeper you're going to need to sign. If Edison goes, that's 2. If Ortega goes, that's 3. So, yeah, not ideal. That's why it's really, 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 really important to get Ortega to stay. It's really important to get Ortega to stay, just convince him. But then he's out of contract next summer, so you're going to lose him on a free when he's probably worth about 20 million quid. De Bruyne, Gundogan. Well, Gundogan's going to get a new contract, a contract extension, because he's played automatically the game, so it's going to tick over. Whether he stays or not, I don't know. De Bruyne, I don't think De Bruyne is going to stay. Let me do a new poll on the De Bruyne. Let me end the Rico Lewis. But this isn't what you want, yeah? Do you think KDB is staying? Yes, I think he will. No, I think he will leave. This isn't what you want. This is what you think. This is what you think. I think he goes, man. I can't lie. I think he goes. I think he's leaving. I think he's going to MLS, mate. I think he's going to MLS. I think he's going to San Diego. And I think San Diego, he's going to be there. So, yeah, it's not ideal. Edison, Stone's out of contract next year. I don't think they're going to give him a new contract, do you? Not if he can't stay fit. So, I think they'll just keep him until next summer. And then, you know, if he stays fit all next year, they might give him a year contract extension, 2 years, whatever. But, yeah, he's obviously coming towards the end of his career at City, unfortunately. Edison, he's gone in the summer. I think he would have signed a new deal by now. Now, Bernardo's an interesting one because everything that I'm reading regards Bernardo Silva is like, he's talking about next year, isn't he? He's like, yo, next year we're going to cook on gas. We're going to be back next year. And I'm like, yo. Do you know what I mean? Yo, Bill Brigsy as well. He's like, yo, this guy sounds like he's going to stay. So if he stays, you can't keep both Gundogan and Kovacic, mate. Yeah, because that's too much, mate, to be honest. That's too much. So if Bernardo wants to stay, then whatever. But I don't want Gundogan to stay and Kovacic to stay at the same time with Bernardo. And Bernardo, for me, has to accept a reduced role in the squad. Like, he can't be playing week in, week out, mate. You know what I mean? He's got to become a squad rotator. But you can't keep all three of them. You know what I mean? Like people say, like, listen, in an ideal world, I'd get rid of all three of them and buy better players. Yeah. And I don't think anyone would disagree with me on that one. Why would you not? You know, if you can get better players than them, do it. But obviously, I'm also fully aware that you're not going to be able to get rid of 9 players in one transfer window. So you'd have to pick and choose your battles. So you look at who can offer me the most. Well, can Gundogan offer me anything more than Bernardo in a game? Probably not. And Bernardo can play multiple positions and can run faster probably than Gundogan. Or maybe not, actually. Maybe Gundogan can run. I don't know. So if you had to pick one, I'd probably keep Bernardo over Gundogan. You know? Kovacic is an interesting one because I don't think Kovacic is a bad player. I think Kovacic is a pretty good player. It's just, unfortunately, he's been purchased for something and we've not used him for the right purchase. You know what I mean? He was purchased as an emergency squad rotator. Yeah? That's what he was purchased for. But we've not used him as a squad rotator. We've used him week in, week out for the last 2 years, pretty much. So again, Kovacic, I wouldn't mind keeping him around the squad, but it's got to be rotation only because that's what he was brought in for. No, he wasn't. Well, why did we buy Nunes then? Well, Nunes was meant to be the rotator and Kovacic was meant to be starting, even though we spent 50 million. Why was he trying to buy Jude Bellingham? Why was he trying to buy Rice? Yeah, we was meant to buy Kovacic alongside Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham. And I actually think I rate Kovacic's career at City. I think he's done okay. Kovacic. Yeah, he's bought for what? 25 mil. He's been playing in a role that he wasn't meant to play in, and he's done okay. Yeah, has he been great? No. Has he been shit? No, I think he's just been okay. You know what I mean? And I still think like he's a problem in the team because he shouldn't be playing week in, week out. But yeah, he's been all right. What else we got in here? McAtee. Well, I don't know about for you guys. I'd be amazed if he's at the football club next year. Amazed. You know, he's 23 now, I think. I think he's 22 going on 23. He's obviously not made it at City. Yeah. He's played like 700 minutes this year in a team that's been in disarray. If he can't get in this team, he guy's never going to get in it, is he? So I wish he would have had more opportunities, personally, earlier in the season when we had no Foden and no Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah. That was kind of crazy that Pep never played him in that game. But, yeah, in the games that he has had, he's not really shone. And, you know, for him, I think he needs to be playing week in, week out. Now, we've already spoke about this a lot. Bayer Leverkusen. There's been a couple of links saying Bayer Leverkusen will be interested in taking James McAtee. Well, there's a player at Bayer Leverkusen that I think Manchester City might be interested in taking. That's Florian Wirtz. Could we do a little deal there? Maybe. And then that's it then. You're not really in panic stations because the rest is 2027. You know, the rest of them are 2027. Well, Rodri's obviously got a contract. I reckon that'll be signed pretty soon. Again, LB was right. You know, apparently he was going to sign a contract just before he'd done his ACL. And I said, I'd be surprised or questioning whether that contract would be signed when he's just done his ACL. A lot of people said, no, he'll still sign it. He'll still sign it. Well, he's not. But I do think that'll be signed very soon. Akanji, chill, won't be giving him a new contract anytime soon because he's declined. Diaz, to be honest with you, at this moment, I wouldn't be offering him a contract anytime soon. I'd wait, see get his form back up because I don't think he's been particularly great. Ake got injury problems. Wouldn't be offering him a new contract anytime soon. Obviously, Jack Grealish is not going to be offered a new contract, and you're probably going to try to get rid of him. And Foden, again, I probably would wait a little bit, see what he's doing next year, and then if he gets back to it next year, get him back on a new contract. But I'd wait for him. I'd wait for the form to consistently come back for Foden before I re-enter the negotiations. And then after that, you're chilling. You're chilling after that, 2028. You're years away. You're years away. So, there's a lot of players that we need to churn through. We need to get out. We need to get in. And, a lot of these players that we're going to let out, we're going to have to look at an improvement because there's a reason why a lot of these players are leaving. Apart from Ederson, to be honest with you, all the players that are leaving, we need to be looking at upgrades. Now, obviously, I'd love us to get an upgrade on Ederson, right? That's going to be tricky because Ederson's a fantastic goalkeeper. Maybe this year he's been not particularly great, but he is a fantastic goalkeeper. In my opinion, City's best goalkeeper ever. Obviously, in my lifetime, I never saw Troutman play or whatever, you know what I mean? But in my lifetime, I think he's the best goalkeeper we've ever had. Now, some people will say Hart, some people will say Weaver, some people will say Troutman, whatever, yeah? My lifetime, Ederson for me is the best goalkeeper we've had. But yeah, other than that, we're looking at upgrades on everyone. I'm looking at upgrades on Gundogan. I'm looking at upgrades on maybe Kevin De Bruyne as well, to be fair. I know he's not like the same as he used to be, but you know what I'm saying. But everyone else, I'm looking at upgrades. McAtee, I need that squad rotator, so I'm going to need an upgrade. Ake, if he leaves, Grealish, I'm going to need an upgrade. Kovacic, if he leaves, upgrade, really. Stones, if he leaves, upgrade. Someone who can stay fit would be nice. After contract situation, the Grealish one's going to be interesting because not just Grealish, De Bruyne as well. Because if you let Grealish off your books and De Bruyne, you're talking 600, 700 grand a week in wages gone. Throw Bernardo Silva in, it's £1 million a week. You know that? Did you know that? If you do the maths on it, yeah. If you let Grealish leave, De Bruyne leave, and Bernardo Silva leave, and you don't contribute to any of the wages, that's £1 million a week in wages. £1 million. £1 million. Can you believe that? £1 million, mate. £1 million. That's crazy, breh. It's a crazy situation, that, £1 million. And then you bring in Wirtz, hopefully, at 300. Yeah, Baena, 100. Yeah, also, can we stop this giving players 150 grand a week for no reason whatsoever? Yeah, why did they do? I don't know what they did. They didn't do it with Alvarez. Alvarez, right, yeah, was in the South American League slamming, and we put him on like 30, 40 grand a week, and then that's why he got the contract extension real quick. Do you remember that? Do you remember we signed him? He come in, didn't he? He was on like 40 grand a week, and then within like 6 months, he'd already agreed a new contract. That's because he was on no way. But then like Phillips and that, and Nunes, we put on 150. Why? Just because we're this mint club doesn't mean that you just automatically have to go on mad cash. Yeah, I'd like this club. Yeah, by the way, this is not a negative. Yeah, I'm not criticizing or being negative. I'm being positive. Yeah, I'm trying to be positive here because I'm trying to save the club some money. Just say to them, just when you're signing these players, just say to them, listen, you're going to go on 100 grand a week, 70 grand a week, whatever, which is, by the way, it's still probably 5 times more than they're already earning, unless it's like Wirtz or whatever, in which case this doesn't apply. Yeah, I'm talking about the Kovacic's as well, right? The Nunes's. And just say, we're going to put you on 70 grand. We're going to put you on 100 grand a week. Yeah. However, if you play well, the first 6 months, on my life, we'll give you a new contract. Proof, Alvarez. Because we don't want you to be unhappy. You know, if we sign a player, put him on 70 grand a week, yeah, like Baena, for example. Who's Baena play for? Villarreal. Let me check his wage. Baena. I know this guy's apparently said that he don't want to leave or whatever, but let's just go with it for the purposes of the storyline. Yeah, Villarreal wage. Yeah, this guy's got to be on like 20 grand a week, mate. Right, he's on 38,000 euros a week, which in GBP is 31 grand a week, right? So he's on 31 grand a week. So you go to him and say, listen, yeah, you've been slamming it for Villarreal. We want to sign you. Yeah, and we want to get to a point where you're on 300 grand a week. Because if you're on 300 grand a week, that means you're an unbelievable player, right? We'll put you on 100 grand a week, not 150. Yeah, so we're saving 50 grand a week there, yeah? If you start slamming it, as soon as you start slamming it and you're consistent, we'll give you the pay rise, man. Because we don't want you to be there unhappy, sat on the bench and sat in training and sat with your wife or whatever going, oh, I'm being underpaid like fucking Edison. Like Edison has for the last 4 years on 90 grand a week when all the top goalkeepers are on 200, 300 grand a week. We'll give you the pay rise, man. But what we're not willing to do, we're not willing to take a player that is relatively unproven, yeah, at the top level and put you on the big cash. Because what happens is, right, it creates a problem. Because then you have players like Nunes and Phillips on 150 grand a week. You're never going to be able to get rid of them. That's why they always get loaned, mate. That's what happened, by the way. We did this. We've done this so many times. It's pretty mad that the club never learned the lesson. We did this, right, when we won the league in 2012. Do you remember? And we put Joe Hart on a mad contract. We put Dzeko on a mad contract. We put pure players on these big contracts, right? Football changes so quickly. Within a year, we had a new manager or whatever, and they all wanted out. Yeah, Dzeko wanted out, or Dzeko got sold. Yeah, we ended up selling him for pittance. Yeah, pennies on the dollar. Yeah, Hart was on a big contract. Pep comes in, obviously a bit later, but Pep comes in. He's like, don't want this guy. Oh, well, he's on 250 grand a week, mate. Yeah, well, Pep don't want him. So straight away, you're screwed. Yeah, because obviously you're not going to be able to sell the player. Because they don't want to. When the manager, this is where Ten Hag went wrong with Sancho. When the manager makes it publicly known that they don't want the player, you're screwed because you're not going to be able to demand the fee in it. Like, for example, yeah, say I have a car that I need to sell, right? And everybody knows I need to sell this car today. If I don't sell this car today, I'm cooked. I'm losing it for free or whatever, yeah? So someone's going to, and say the car's worth £1,000. No one's going to bid £1,000 in it. Yeah, unless they're a nice person, right? But no one's going to do that realistically, yeah? We live in a world where people will haggle and negotiate. You know, and they'll come up to me and say, the car's worth £1,000, but if you don't sell the car today, you've lost the car. So I'm going to bid £400. And I'm like, what? 400 quid? Mate, it's worth £1,000. He's like, I know it's worth £1,000, but if you don't accept the £400, then you're screwed, mate. How are you going to get it? You're going to lose it on a free. So I go, okay then. I accept it on a free. I accepted 400 quid. I take the 400 quid. I got £400, but I've lost a car which worth £1,000, but I needed to do it. That's what happens with the players, mate. Yeah. That's why you should never make it publicly known. Yeah. Be serious here, chat. Yeah. This is why you should never make it publicly known that you want the player to leave, mate. Because then you put yourself in a horrific position. And this is what Ten Hag did with Sancho when he called him out. And Rashford and that. And Ronaldo. He actually did it quite a lot, to be honest with you. Big up Ten Hag. I really wish Ten Hag did beat us in the FA Cup final, man, because I actually would have really liked that guy. Yeah, there's not many ex-United players or managers that I like. Yeah, but if he didn't beat us in that FA Cup final, I think I would have really, really liked Ten Hag. Even though he won a trophy like the Carabao Cup, you know what I mean? If he would have just let us win in that FA Cup final, I'd have really liked him, man. Proper. Do you know what I mean? But he had to ruin it, didn't he? He had to ruin it and beat us. So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about with the cash, mate. That's what I'm talking about with the cash. Let's see what he's saying. Let's see what he's saying. What are you guys saying? So, Colin says, so we need 2 goalkeepers, 2 fullbacks, centre-half, 2 midfielders. Time to get realistic. That is realistic. You tell me that's not realistic? Yeah, but yeah, that's realistic. Why is that not realistic? Are you saying that's not realistic, Colin? Or are you saying that is realistic? And yeah, Elder, I would also add a winger on the end of that, but you got to be realistic. You got to be realistic, bro. You got to be realistic, innit? So, Colin, are you saying that's not realistic? I don't see how you can say that's not realistic. We just signed 5 players in January. That's 2, 4, 5, 7. So we signed 5 players in January. Why can't we sign 7 in the summer? I think that's definitely realistic, man. 100% that's realistic, mate. Yeah, Diallo, I've seen that he signed it. I don't know if there's a release clause in there. I think that's realistic. I definitely think that's realistic. Because remember as well, yeah, the goalkeepers, right? Let's be real. I'm going to be serious with you right now, yeah? That goalkeeper should already be signed, basically. Because we already know, the club should already know what's happening with Edison. 100%, mate, it's March. We're almost in April. The season's almost done. We should already know what's happening with Edison. We should have spoke to him. We should have offered him our best contract. And he says, no. We say, okay, so you're leaving in the summer. Okay, well, we're making preparations then to sign a new goalkeeper. We're signing him regardless of what you do. If you don't leave, and this is the bid, then you'll be on bench, right? So that should already basically be signed. Cambiasso, by all accounts, is already signed. Like, it's already pretty much agreed. Yeah. I think the centre-half fares, we've probably not signed that yet. We're probably in early negotiations. And the same with the midfielders, right? And maybe the second-choice fullback. But I definitely think that the goalkeeper, and the second-choice goalkeeper should be chill as well, because you're just signing some random guy who can do a decent job. Yeah. Obviously, it depends who you're signing. Are you signing a Carson upgrade? Are you signing a Carson replacement or Ortega? If it's a Carson replacement, I'm not being funny, mate, but the guy down the pub can do that. I do that job, mate. Yeah, I swear down, I'd do that job, yeah. But if you sign an Ortega, then you're going to have to get someone, obviously. I think that's completely realistic. I think that's completely realistic. I don't see why that's not realistic when we've signed 5 players in January. You know what I mean? We signed 5 players in January if you included Juma Bar. Okay, Juma Bar shameless. Well, it's still technically a player, so I don't know why it's shameless, but we signed 4 players then. We signed 4. It's been 175 million. It's time to get serious, man. Yeah, this club used to go into the market in the summer and go, bang, we are back, mate. Yeah, I want to see rival fans rattled. Rattled in the summer. Big time, man. Big time I want to see rival fans rattled. I want to see people moaning about oil club, plastics, oil club, money, money, money. This is what I need. This is what I need. You really think Levy will pay 150k per week for Grealish? Maybe. Yeah, I think he probably would. I think he probably would. Yeah. Well, that means we've got to pay the other 150k, which is grim. How about Chevalier first choice, James Trafford second choice? I mean, I'm down for that. I'm down for that. But would Trafford accept being second choice? Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so, mate. I don't think so. See what you guys are saying. Diaz to Asna. Diaz? Which Diaz? Luis Diaz? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Did you see the news from Reinders? No, I've not seen the Reinders, innit? Well, how long do we need to pay this 150 when his contract? I think so. I think that's how it works, isn't it? I think basically, bro, yeah, it's like he's got a contract to be paid 300 grand a week. So if his new contract with Spurs for that overlapping period, so say he's got 2 years left on his deal, so say his new contract for them 2 years on 150, we've got to pay the 150 off. I think that's how it works, which is raw, innit? Do you know what I mean? But that's why you got to be careful, innit? That's why you got to be careful. But anyway, guys, I got to go in it because I'm going out now. But yeah, big up to Unknown says, why don't we just make an academy player number 2 or buy it? Because look how many times, yeah? Look how many times you play the second choice goalkeeper. They need to be good, man. They do need to be good. Nah, it's not under 2 contracts. It's like you're leaving a contract with 2 years left at 300 grand a week, yeah? The new club's going to put you on a contract. So for those 2 years, if you go down to 150, then Grealish is going to go, well, I'm losing 150 grand a week, so I'm not leaving. So City are going to go, well, you got to leave. And they say, well, I don't have to leave. I stay here. So City will say, right, well, sign a contract with Spurs and we'll pay you the 150 separately. I think that's how it works, man. True professional, Carson, never injured. What a guy. Never injured. Guy never moves. Got the easiest job in the world, man. Got the easiest job in the world. LB Chevalier, Cambiasso, Cherky, Huyson. Is that guy at Bournemouth? Baena, Wharton. Yeah, maybe. I'd prefer Verts, but apparently that Cherky is apparently meant to be a baller. But yeah, anyway. Guys, make sure you guys smash up the likes. Yeah, we'll return to these streams. I just wanted a couple of days off, man. There was nothing happening, man. People kept on talking about random shit online. I was like, I ain't going live talking about random shit. So I thought, I'll wait a few days, and then I've done it today instead. So that's basically the driller. But yeah, big up to you, innit? Make sure you guys smash the likes. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel as well if you're new. And yeah, check what I tag you in real quick. Oh, is this the stuff about that? Oh, that's the Haaland stuff. Yeah, I did see this actually. Haaland on potential consequences of 115 charges. Obviously, I'm not afraid if I sign a 9.5 contract. Well, we'll see what happens. There's loads of rumours flying around at the moment on social media. Hugh actually tweeted something, but then deleted it. so I don't want to say it just in case. I don't want to get in trouble. But like, Hugh tweeted something, deleted it. That Mark guy, Mark McCarthy, who does the kit collecting, and I think he knows his shit. I think he's got a lot of contacts. He tweeted that we're not guilty, but I don't want to get excited for it until it actually legit happens, man. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Because you know what the Premier League are like, man. The Premier League are scammers. Yeah, big time scammers, man. But yeah, anyway, big up to you guys. Make sure you smash a like. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, man. I probably won't be live tonight. I'll be live tomorrow, but yeah, big up. See you in a bit.
Whatever the British and the government's got against us, it must be serious, because they've tried everything apart from shoot us. A little lad's fighting his heart out here and get robbed in his own town, and British judges, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves, you political bastards.